Let's talk about the WNBA.
The cameras were live. The hype was scripted. History was supposed to be made. And then the doors opened. Silence. Not normal silence. The kind that makes your stomach drop. The kind that powerful people fear. This was the WNBA Finals. The biggest night of the season. And insiders say only 150 fans showed up. 150. Rows of empty seats stared back like an accusation. Entire sections untouched. Arenas built for noise reduced to echoes. Players noticed immediately. You could see it on their faces. The smiles faded. The disbelief set in. Then came the moment no one was ready for. The commissioner stood up. They looked around the arena, paused, tightened their jaw, and walked out. No announcement. No damage control. No explanation. Just gone. Staffers panicked. Headsets exploded with shouting. Cut the wide shots. Don't show the crowd. Too late. Fans at home saw everything. Phones came out. Clips were recorded. Messages were leaked. This is a disaster. We can't spin this. Where is everyone? Twitter went nuclear. Photos of empty seats spread like wildfire. Hashtags turned savage. Memes hit before halftime. On the court, the energy collapsed. Every bounce echoed. Every cheer felt forced. This wasn't just low attendance. This wasn't just bad optics. This was a public implosion. And what happened behind closed doors that night is what the league never wanted anyone to know. The moment the players stepped onto the floor, something felt wrong. Not off, not quiet. Wrong in a way that makes your chest tighten. The kind of wrong you feel before bad news drops. A'ja Wilson glanced up during warm-ups, expecting the usual blur of faces, flashes, movement. Instead, she saw empty red seats stretching endlessly like a warning sign no one wanted to read. Insiders say she stopped mid-dribble and whispered, "This is the finals." Not loud enough for TV. Loud enough for the people standing closest to her to freeze. Dana Bonner noticed it too. She always does. Veterans sense these things. She scanned the lower bowl, then the upper, then shook her head. A camera caught her rolling her eyes, but producers immediately cut away. What viewers didn't see was the tension behind the bench. Assistants counting seats. PR reps pretending not to. A league official reportedly muttered, "It'll fill in." It didn't. By tip-off, the truth was undeniable. The sound in the arena didn't match the moment. Every bounce echoed. Every sneaker squeak sounded like it was happening in a gym after hours. Players could hear individual voices yelling instructions. One fan screamed a player's name and it rang out like a gunshot. On social media, viewers started posting screenshots. Why does it look empty? Is it just me or is no one there? Within minutes, those posts turned into threads, then into arguments. then into jokes. Behind the scenes, panic spread fast. A leaked production message later surfaced showing a directive sent to camera crews. Avoid crowd pans, stay tight on players. Another message followed seconds later. Do not show upper deck under any circumstances. Someone screenshotted it. Someone always does. That image would hit Twitter before the second quarter ended. Ticket prices became the next bomb. Fans began pulling up screenshots from resale sites in real time. Finals tickets, $30, $35, lower than regular season games. One viral post read, "I paid more for parking at a Caitlin Clark game." That name ignited everything. Instantly, the narrative shifted. Commentators tried to steer away, but it was too late. The comparison was everywhere. Without her, people said, the league felt empty. Literally. A'ja Wilson felt it boiling inside her. Insiders say during a timeout she slammed her towel down harder than usual and stared into the stands. Not angry at fans. Hurt. Disbelief mixed with something darker. Years of work. Years of fighting for respect. And this was the reward. Dana Bonner wasn't hiding it at all. She allegedly snapped at a staffer who suggested moving a group of fans closer to the court for optics. "We're not props," she said, according to someone standing nearby. Then the commissioner arrived courtside. This was supposed to be a victory lap. Smiles, handshakes, cameras catching approving nods. Instead, witnesses say the commissioner's expression changed the second they sat down. They leaned forward, looked left, looked right, counted. Their posture stiffened. A staffer leaned in to say something. The commissioner shook their head. And then, during a break in play, it happened. They stood up. At first, people thought it was a bathroom break. Then they didn't come back. Security shifted. An aide followed. Another official started making frantic calls. A source later claimed the commissioner said only 4 words before leaving. "This is unacceptable." No press release, no statement, just absence. Word spread instantly. Players noticed the empty seat. Coaches noticed. Media noticed. Someone whispered it on the sideline. Someone else texted it. Within minutes, a reporter allegedly tried to confirm it and was told, "No comment." That was confirmation enough. At halftime, the dam broke. A leaked audio clip surfaced. 12 seconds. Grainy, recorded on a phone in a restricted area. A voice believed to be a senior league executive saying, "We bet on the wrong story." That was it, nothing else. But it was enough to send the internet into chaos. What story, who was wrong, and who knew this would happen? Twitter turned into a battlefield. Fans blamed marketing. Others blamed players. Some blamed ticket prices. Some blamed politics. Some blamed the absence of one superstar. Former players chimed in. Analysts subtweeted. One verified account wrote, "You can't fake demand." Another responded, "You also can't grow without support." The replies were vicious. On the court, the game continued, but the energy never recovered. Every missed shot felt heavier. Every made basket was met with applause that sounded polite, not passionate. Dana Bonner's frustration spilled over during a dead ball when she stared directly into a camera and shook her head. That clip went viral within minutes, captioned, "This says everything." By the end of the game, no one was talking about the score. They were talking about the walkout. They were talking about the empty seats. They were talking about the leak that just dropped as players headed to the locker room. A text allegedly sent earlier that day from a league insider saying, "If this doesn't sell, we're in trouble." And as reporters gathered for post-game interviews, A'ja Wilson stepped up to the podium, took a breath, and said something that made the room go silent. "We're playing some of the best basketball in the world," she said slowly, "but it feels like nobody's watching." What she didn't know yet was what Dana Bonner was about to say next. The room went cold after A'ja Wilson's words. Not awkward silence, not media silence, the kind where everyone knows something just cracked open and there's no way to seal it back up. Reporters glanced at each other. PR reps stiffened. A league official near the back reportedly whispered, "Oh no," because everyone knew who was up next. Dana Bonner walked to the podium with her jaw set tight. No smile, no nod, no patience. She sat down, adjusted the mic, and before anyone could even finish the first question, she spoke. "I'm tired of pretending this is normal." That was it. That was the spark. Cameras leaned in, pens froze. Bonner didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. You grind your whole career for moments like this, she continued, eyes locked forward. And you hope people care enough to show up. The word hope hit like an insult. Within seconds, that clip was everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, captions turned brutal. Some called it heartbreaking, others called it entitlement. The war lines were drawn instantly. Behind the scenes, things were getting uglier. A staffer allegedly burst into a restricted hallway arguing with another official, yelling, "We warned you about the pricing." Another voice shouted back, "This wasn't about price, it was about star power." Someone slammed a door. Someone else recorded audio. That audio would leak an hour later. In it, a tense voice says, "We don't have Caitlyn, and now look at this." That single sentence detonated everything, because now the quiet part was loud. Social media turned feral. Fans of Caitlyn Clark flooded timelines, posting sold-out arena photos from earlier in the season. This is what demand looks like. Critics fired back, accusing the league of becoming a one-player show. Former players jumped in, some defending Bonner, others subtly shading the league. One ex-WNBA star tweeted, "You can't blame fans for following stars, that's sports." Another replied minutes later, "You also can't build a league on one name." The replies spiraled into chaos. Meanwhile, leaked messages kept surfacing. A screenshot allegedly from a private group chat between league executives began circulating. The timestamp showed it was sent during the second quarter. The message read, "If this goes viral, we're finished." Another reply underneath it, "It already is." No names attached, but enough context to make it feel real. Too real. The league tried to shut it down, issuing vague statements about misinformation and attendance metrics. But nobody was listening anymore. Inside the locker room, emotions were boiling. Sources say Asia Wilson sat silently, staring at her phone as notifications flooded in. Not praise, not highlights, empty seats, jokes, arguments. She allegedly turned to a teammate and said, "They're not even talking about basketball." Dana Bonner, on the other side, was reportedly furious, not just disappointed, furious. She allegedly told staff, "Don't ask me to defend this." When a PR rep suggested focusing on the competition, Bonner snapped, "Competition needs an audience." Then came the celebrity reactions. A-list athletes from other leagues started chiming in, some supportive, some messy. One NBA player tweeted a single emoji-less sentence, "Yikes!" It went viral instantly. A famous sports podcaster posted a clip zooming out the crowd with the caption, "This is the finals." Millions of views in hours. The algorithm was feeding on it. Every reaction made it worse. And then, the commissioner's walkout story grew darker. An insider leaked that the commissioner didn't just leave because of the crowd. Allegedly, they had been shown live ticket scans on a tablet moments before standing up, numbers far below projections. Sponsorship triggers not met. One source claimed a sponsor had a clause tied to attendance visuals. Another claimed a heated exchange happened courtside, where the commissioner was told, "We can't hide this." That's when they stood up. The league denied everything, but denial only fueled suspicion, because more clips kept surfacing. A shaky video from the concourse showing fans being moved into lower sections. Another showing entire upper decks closed off. People started counting seats frame by frame. Amateur analysts turned into detectives overnight. Threads with red circles and arrows spread everywhere. "You can't unsee this," one viral tweet read. Dana Bonner's comments kept echoing. She went live briefly on Instagram later that night. No makeup, no filter, just frustration. "I love this game," she said, "but don't tell us everything is fine when it's not." The live cut abruptly. Screenshots exploded. Some accused her of hurting the league. Others called her the only honest one in the room. And then, just when it seemed like the fire couldn't grow, another leak dropped. A short email, subject line, "Contingency," dated weeks before the finals. The body allegedly read, "If projected demand doesn't materialize, we pivot narrative away from attendance and toward legacy matchups." That was it. No signature, no logo, but enough to suggest this wasn't a surprise, that this was anticipated, planned for, and that realization hit fans like betrayal. The narrative shifted overnight. This wasn't just about empty seats anymore. It was about trust, about whether the league believed its own hype, about whether players were being asked to sell a story executives knew wouldn't land. Hashtags changed tone, from jokes to anger, from memes to think pieces. "Stop lying to the players" began trending. By morning, sports talk shows led with it. Not highlights, not analysis, the walkout, the quotes, the leaks, Asia Wilson's calm disappointment, Dana Bonner's raw anger, the commissioner's silence. Everyone wanted answers, no one was getting them. And then, just as the league prepared its official response, a final clip surfaced, recorded unknowingly during a post-game hallway moment. A voice, unmistakably upset, saying, "This is what happens when you ignore what fans actually want." The internet went quiet for a split second, because everyone knew what was coming next. By the time the sun came up, the damage was irreversible. This wasn't a bad night anymore. It was a full-blown reckoning. Morning shows didn't ease into it. They led with it. The walkout, the emptiness, the quotes that refused to die. Every panel asked the same question in different ways. How did the biggest moment of the season turn into its most brutal exposure? The league finally broke its silence with a carefully worded statement about attendance context and long-term growth. It landed like gasoline on a fire. Fans ripped it apart line by line. Players saw it and went quiet. Too quiet. That's when people knew something bigger was happening behind the scenes. Group chats went dark. Agents started calling. Sponsors allegedly demanded explanations. One insider claimed a scheduled partnership announcement was quietly postponed within hours. Asia Wilson stayed off social media. That alone spoke volumes. People noticed. They screenshotted her silence. Commentators speculated. Then a teammate liked a tweet that read, "Stop asking players to carry mistakes they didn't make." It was unliked minutes later. Too late. Screenshots live forever. Dana Bonner, meanwhile, doubled down without saying a word. She reposted a fan comment that simply said, "Truth hurts." The repost vanished quickly, but again, too late. Then came the players, only meeting. Sources say it was tense, emotional. Some players cried, others were angry. A few were reportedly furious at the league. One veteran allegedly said, "We keep pretending this is fine and it's not." Another responded, "They knew this would happen." That sentence spread like wildfire once it leaked. Because if they knew, everything changed. That meant the walkout wasn't shock, it was confirmation. More leaks followed. An internal slide deck surfaced online, allegedly from weeks before the finals. It showed projected attendance scenarios. One was labeled low engagement outcome. The number attached was eerily close to reality. People noticed. Analysts circled it. The caption under the leaked image said, "They planned for this and still let it happen." Trust shattered instantly. Former players began speaking more openly. One said on a podcast, "This isn't about one game, it's about pretending momentum is the same everywhere." Another added, "Fans follow stories. If you ignore that, this is what you get." Each quote reignited the fire. Each take pulled more people in. The story grew beyond the finals. It became about identity, direction, accountability. Then the commissioner reappeared. Not in person, not in front of cameras. Through a closed-door meeting with owners that someone leaked details from hours later. According to that leak, the mood was grim. Words like reset, restructure, and rethink were allegedly used. One owner supposedly asked, "How did we miss this?" Another replied, "We didn't." That exchange hit social media and sent shockwaves through the fanbase. Because if true, it meant this wasn't a blind spot. It was a gamble that failed. Fans began choosing sides. Some defended the players passionately. Others accused stars of pushing fans away. The divide widened. Comment sections turned hostile. Every clip became a battlefield. Even unrelated games were flooded with comments about empty seats. The finals became a symbol, not of failure on the court, but of something broken off it. Dana Bonner finally spoke one last time, not in anger, not in frustration, in exhaustion. "We love this game," she said quietly in a short interview clip. "But love doesn't mean lying." That sentence hit harder than anything before it, because it wasn't dramatic, it was final. And then, just when it felt like there was nothing left to reveal, one last leak dropped late at night. A single text message, allegedly from a high-ranking official, sent after the commissioner walked out. It read, "This changes everything." No context. No explanation. Just that. And that's why this story isn't over. Because when the people at the top admit everything has changed, you know the fallout has only just begun.